Mike, how do you do it? Recently, my friend asked me after we moved how I already had made some new friends. Now, I don't say that I'm the best at it by any means, but I have been pretty good at it. And so today we're going to talk about leading and speaking and how that relates to making friends. That's what we're going to get into in today's show.
Welcome to Advance with Mike Acker, the podcast designed to help entrepreneurs, business leaders, and professionals alike break through barriers by improving their practical leadership skills and increasing confidence in speaking. Your host is a best-selling author, executive coach, and founder of the Advance Public Speaking School and Advantage Publishing Group, two companies dedicated to providing an edge for leaders. Find out more about Mike at mikeacker.com. Now here's your host, Mike Acker.
It's great to be here with you today. I'm looking forward to jumping into this topic. Now, if you've been tuning in for a while, you know I do a one-take, no-edit show. So that means there's some flubs along the way, but it's great for you as you're modeling leadership to others and as you're learning how to communicate better as we're in this together, that we realize no one is perfect. And really, if you're perfect, you're kind of boring. So today, what we're going to get into is how to make friends. This was inspired because I was hanging out with a recently new friend. I mean, someone who I've been developing a closer friendship with. And we got together and he said, Mike, how do you do it? You just moved here and you already have these friends. And I thought to myself, that's true. It's because I practice making friendships very intentionally. And I'm going to talk to you about that today. How does this relate to leadership and communication? Because some of the principles that I use in making friends with others are, well, they're communication principles. And some of the leadership principles that we employ on a regular basis, we don't think to then take it and put it into the area of our personal life, our personal relationships. And I believe that this topic is important now more than ever. After all, a lot of people are still in real lockdown conditions. And you're wondering, how do I not feel isolated? How do I gather support around me? Others, you're making major life choices and changes like my wife and I did during this time. And you need this understanding, these principles, so that you can go out and make friends. Let me start with this story. My wife comes to me almost a year ago and says, let's move. Now, we're still rooted in Washington. We have a lot of roots there, but she wanted to take us and she wanted to establish a lot of our living time in a completely different part of the United States, down by the Gulf Coast in Fairhope, Alabama. So we're close to the beach and we're close to some really cool cities and we're close to the freeway. We're driving distance to Disney World. And yet, even with that, it was a hard pitch for her to sell. Why was it so hard? Well, there's a number of different reasons. I'd never lived down that area, and there was a big change in a time of pandemic, and just all kinds of just different things came to my mind. But one of them was friends. Friends. I had deep-rooted friendships in the state of Washington. It's been my home base for all of my life, 40 plus years now. And so I have long-time friends here, well, there in Washington. And it was really hard for me to think that I couldn't just drive an hour to see somebody or 15 minutes to see somebody. Now I was going to be a state apart, not only state apart, a country apart. I was going to be far away from everybody. So after we thought about it, we prayed about it, we talked about it, maybe we even argued about it, we sought some counsel, really thought through it, and made the decision and moved. When I arrived, she arrived in July. When I arrived in September, wrapping up everything and some work that I had there, and all of a sudden I realized to myself, I was alone. Now my wife has family here, and I have my wife and we have our son, but still I was alone in the sense of sometimes you just need someone outside of your family that you can go talk to. Got great support with family, love my wife, love my son, but I still wanted friends, just a buddy that I could hang out with. So I set apart myself some time that I would intentionally work on making friendships. And I'm going to walk through some principles that I intentionally have done now multiple times in my life. And I'm going to back it up with some stories and maybe regale you with some ideas of just what I've done that maybe you can do in your own life. I'm going to walk you through 4 friendship making principles. Are there more? Yeah, there's tons more, but I'm going to walk you through 4, and these are going to be very helpful for you. Here's the first one. Extend yourself. Extend yourself. I talk about this in terms of communication as the 5-foot rule. A great rule for communication and leadership. Listen, and if you don't do this, you need to do this in your leadership and communication. And then I'll show you how it applies to your friendship. So if you're a leader, extend yourself because people are looking to you. I love the idea that a leader, a boss, you don't work for them, they work for you. They're there to bring out the best. So bosses, managers, leaders, business owners, pastors, if you are in charge of anybody, you work for them. So go out of your way, extend yourself to them. You shouldn't be waiting for the employee to come to you. You should be going to them. You should find out what's going on in their life. Likewise, if you're a speaker, you're speaking there for them. It's not about you and just to feel good about yourself. So before an event, don't hide behind a curtain. I know too many people who have ridiculous speaker writers. When people ask me, Mike, what's your writer? What do you need? Do you need green M&Ms? Like, I don't need green M&Ms. I don't need anything. Give me some water, just any water that you drink. Just treat me like a normal person. I'm here to serve you. This is not about me being a rock star or anything like that. Let me just find out how to serve you. That means that before the event, I'm out there talking with people. I do the 5-foot rule. Great rule for leadership, great rule for speaking. And it means this, that before an event, before a meeting, you're standing 5 feet away from the wall. Get away from the wall. Don't hide behind the wall. This means that when you're away from the wall, you're not physically, not literally, but you're naked. You're out there. You're not hiding behind anything. You don't have your phone out. You're checking things. You don't have a coffee cup. You don't have a cigarette, a drink, whatever it might be that you would hide behind. You're just out there and you're extending yourself to people. You're getting in the way of people coming into the environment you're speaking in, whether that's a workshop or whether it's a meeting that you're leading. You're getting in the way of your employees as they come in. I used to, as people would come in, try to be in the lobby in the morning before them so that when they'd come in, I'd be in their way. I'd extend myself. This is an incredible leadership and communication principle, which we could just extrapolate and go on and on about. But right now we're applying it towards friendship. So extend yourself. Get away from the wall. Stop hiding. Stop hiding behind the TV at your house. Stop hiding behind work. Stop hiding behind just, hey, I want more family time. You need family time. I got family time. You definitely want that. But if you want friends, then you need to not hide yourself behind just responsibilities, not hiding yourself behind chores. A lot of people keep busy and they say, I don't have time to make friends. BS. You do have time. You just got to make the time. Friendships are so important because sometimes when you have a problem, you go to your family. But what happens when you have a family problem? You need friends who can support you, who can give you wisdom, who can speak into you. If you're the one being stupid, you need a friend who says, you're being an idiot. Stop acting like an idiot and go make it right with your family members. We need friends. A lot of times people want friends far too late. By the time they need a friend, they don't have any friend. So be proactive in making friends. And this means extend yourself. Just like it might be uncomfortable to stand, not literally, but figuratively naked away from the wall, not hiding behind anything. So is it awkward extending yourself, but you need to do it. So where can you extend yourself? Can you get involved in some kind of club? Can you get involved in some kind of a Zoom group? Can you go get your vaccine so that you can then go play in a local league? What can you do to extend yourself? Now, more than ever, as COVID restrictions are slowly going away and we're coming back to that so-called, everybody hates this term, new normal, you need to extend yourself. Where can you extend yourself? So that's the first way that you can start making friendship. Here's the second one. You want to really think through, and this is it, think through your first impression. Now, what do I mean by that? Your first impression, I'm not talking about what you necessarily look like, but how you make other people feel. See, it's not about you. I write about that in my book, Speak with No Fear. When it comes to communication, it's not about you. But when it comes to friendships, it's not about you. If you approach a new friendship and you think it's all about you, they're going to see through it. They're going to think, man, that person is a narcissist. I don't want that. People don't want to be friends with somebody it's all about them. No matter how impressive they are, that's not a real friendship. That's just some kind of followership that celebrities have. And you got the little roadies who follow them everywhere. No, you don't want that kind of relationship. So don't try to impress people. Try to really connect with people. This means thinking through your first impression. When you meet someone, think through how you can connect to them. Find out about them. And here I'm going to give you the biggest key here. Dale Carnegie said that everybody's first and famous, most favorite word is their own name. Learn their name. So let me give you a key on how to learn a name. Say your name is Mike. So I talk to you and I say, what's your name? And you say, my name is Mike. I said, Mike, great to meet you. This is a very interesting time, isn't it? Now we're just finally getting away from Zoom rooms and we're back into an office space or wherever you find Mike. Mike, it's so great to meet you. Now, what do you do? And he responds, he says, I do this and I do that. I said, Mike, that's so interesting. I have a friend over here, or my aunt used to do that same type of work. That's very interesting. Now, Mike, where are you originally from? So here's what I'm doing to make a good first impression. I'm trying to use his name in a very regular, intentional way. That's not awkward. So I'm not saying Mike. No, I'm not saying that. I'm just trying to use his name in a very regular, ordinary way. Now, what that does is it helps ingrain his name into my mind, and it makes him realize that I'm interested in who he is as a person, not in a creepy romantic way, not in a weird stalker way, just in a normal peer-to-peer, person-to-person, human-to-human connection. So Mike, tell me a little bit more about yourself. It's much harder when you meet lots of people doing this. It's like Mike, Dylan, John. That's a little bit harder, but when you're meeting with people, maybe one or two at a time, you can use their name in a very normal way, and it comes across like you're interested in them, and it helps you remember their name. Now, guess what? Why is this such a great first impression? Next time you see Mike, guess what you say? Mike! And as I've done this for years and years and years, and many times done it really, really well, people have said, wow, I'm so impressed that you remember me. Now, what's it about? It's not about me. It's about them. So they knew that I took interest in them. Great way to make a new friend is focus on their name, really understand a little bit about themselves, and remember that person. So you want to extend yourself. You want to establish this first impression, and you want to understand the ratio. Now, what I mean is, when you put yourself out there, and even with a great first impression, you might try this on 10 people and get one that bites, one person that connects back with you. That's a little bit discouraging, isn't it? I mean, my wife and I, we lived in California for a while. We moved back to Washington. And even though I had lots of friends there, I wanted to make some new friends in the city we were living in. So I did what I'm talking to you about right now. In fact, I extended myself and we bought this toy on OfferUp for my son. This is pre-pandemic days, right? We arrive at a house and I really struck a great chord with this guy named Chris. A lot of fun talking with him. And after chatting for a while my wife and son are waiting in the car, they're just waiting for me. We only had one car at the time as we had just moved and we didn't have any of our stuff because the moving van wasn't back. And so that's why we had bought this toy online. And so I'm talking to them and they're like, come on. And yet I realized that there was a good connection here. And so I said, hey, Chris, would you like to get together sometime? Maybe get a drink or something, hang out, maybe have your family, my family. Remember, don't make it creepy. Don't make it like pseudo romantic or anything like that, because you're not looking for a romantic partner. You're looking for friends. make it some kind of normal, casual type of thing that you think they would enjoy as well. And so he says, yeah, that'd be great. I go to this place over here. And I said, perfect. Let's hang out sometime. So we ended up doing that. Now remember the ratio that now that we've connected here and I've done the extending yourself, I've done the first impression, remembered his name, and there was a good relationship, that I got to understand the ratio that even as I connected to him, even as I reached out to him, and even as he responded, and we ended up getting together a couple times, even with our families, ultimately the relationship didn't take root. It never really became a friend. Sure, we followed each other on Instagram. Sure, we did a couple of those superficial acquaintance friendship things, but it just didn't connect. Now, why is that? Is it because he saw something in me he didn't like? Maybe it is. Maybe he said that guy's a jerk, that guy's an idiot. But I don't think so. I think there's a lot of times that we're kind of like Lego blocks, and some Legos are big, some Legos are small, and we only have room for enough friendships. And we didn't see each other enough, and our kids' ages were a little bit different. And so it just wasn't enough to really link us. Now, I could have continued to hang out with him, but I wasn't front of mind for him. So he became one of the 9 out of 10 that I did not connect with versus the 1 out of 10 that I could have connected with. But you never know if it's going to be that first person that you reach out to or the 10th person that you reach out to in your quest to make friends that you actually connect, and both of you have the right amount of space, the right amount of connectivity, the right amount of mutuality. And that's the key here. Understanding the ratio is all about mutuality, where it's not just you, it's me. It's not just, I want to be friends with you. I mean, how many people want to be friends with celebrities? I want to be friends with you. And yet celebrities, their Lego blocks are full and maybe over full. They're like, hey, cool, you might be nice. I just don't have time. And I don't know your interest. So there's no chance. So look for mutuality. Now let's go back to the beginning. Extend yourself. So get out there. Look for places where you can connect. There are, in some cities, there have been different things like events and adventures where you can sign up for an activity. Or you can go to a gym and you're extending yourself. You're not in your own little world, but you're actually talking to the people around you. Or you're in some kind of league. Or you're looking for somebody to chat with at a park. And there's all kinds of just different settings that are even COVID safe, especially if you're in an area where that you got to really be careful about that you can still interact with each other. And there's all kinds of leagues that you can participate. You just got to extend yourself and get yourself out of the house and expose yourself to them by getting away from the wall. But then you want to make that first impression where it's not about you, you're not reserved, but you're interested in that person as a person. And then you're understanding the ratio that even though they might like you, even though they might be looking for friends, there just might not be the right type of connection. They might say no, not consciously. They might just subconsciously say no. They might just say that it's not a good fit for me at this point in time. I don't think about that person at that point in time. That's okay. No means next. So if you have 10 friendships or requests that you got to get out there to make one friend, well, every time you get someone who says no, you're closer to finding the next person that could be your friend. Which brings me to the fourth and final area here, reciprocity. When you go out there, it's not just about mutuality, it's about reciprocity. Look for someone who's going to extend themselves to you, even as you extend yourself to them. Because a one-sided friendship is not really a friendship. Recently, I was at a park, and actually several months ago, I was at a park with my son and this other kid started playing together at this park, and then the kids wanted to go to a different part of the park, and I said, well, we should go ask your dad. So I went over there and I started chatting with the dad, and so he and I traipsed over to the other area of the park where the kids wanted to play. Big outdoor, we're kind of standing 6 feet apart type deal. Those type of weird interactions that are going on right now, and we're kind of chatting apart, and we connected. And so what happened? I extended myself. I made a good first impression. I'm already understanding the ratio that this may or may not fit. And I'm not like, oh my gosh, does Ron like me? So I'm not letting my identity get caught up in this. I'm not going to be hurt if it doesn't work. But then I'm also thinking about reciprocity. After that, we went back and forth and there was some mutual relationship, but ultimately it ended up being a little bit one-sided, where I would reach out and then whether it would work or not, I wouldn't hear back. That's okay. They're not reciprocal. You know what? That's probably not going to be the best ongoing friendship. Doesn't mean we're mad at each other or anything like that. We're grown-ups. He's got a whole slew of activity and life here. And so it just didn't work. That's okay. He's not reaching out to me. And a lot of friendship making is just saying, that's okay. A lot of people don't have friends because they're so afraid of rejection. And you just got to get past rejection. I did a whole video on this earlier on my YouTube channel. So go back and check that out. Great way for you to just understanding that in order for you to be a speaker, a leader, and now a friend, you just got to embrace rejection. But when you find the reciprocal relationship, then there's just magic that happens in that friendship. In fact, in my neighborhood, we're all moving in here. Everybody's kind of moving out from all kinds of different places. So we got people from all over the place. Well, I've been extending myself at the park. I've been extending myself walking around when I'm out with my son. And in that extension, I've met some really great people. And sometimes in that, there hasn't been a reciprocity from me to them. They've been interested and I haven't reciprocated. But others, we both reciprocated. And when they've reached out to me, I've said yes. And now when I reach out to them, they said yes. So now there's some guys that will go run together, we'll go do some outdoor soccer together, and we're having a lot of fun because we're putting ourselves out there. Now, one of the reasons I thought about this is because last night in our area, they just opened up an outdoor soccer league limited to a few people. I signed up for this 1 hour, once a week kind of soccer club. And when I get there, I'm already extending myself. And yes, I am an extrovert, but there was an introvert there. And he was the coolest guy. He comes in and I'm thinking about just, I know what he's doing. He's trying to make friends. It's been a weird year. And here's a guy who never really played soccer, got the invite, but wants to make friends. So what did he do? He extended himself. He got himself out of the house. He got away from that. He made a good first impression. He was obviously interested in the people that he was talking to. He asked questions. And you could clearly see he realized that he wasn't going to click with every single person. In fact, out of the 10 people, he's probably going to connect with 1 or 2. And he connected with me and the other guy that I had brought along to this. And reciprocal. Now, as we go down this path of becoming friends, if he reaches out and I reach out, that's when we get the magic of making a friendship. So vital. I'd encourage you to think through where you are in your own friendship journey. Can you write out 10 people that you could go do something with in your area? Yeah, I get it. There's pandemic stuff going on. But could you, if the pandemic wasn't keeping you with whatever the pandemic's doing to you, could you write down 10 people that you could go hang out with? And if you're married, that your spouse would say, yeah, you can go hang out with that person. Not like an ex that you recently dated that was still interested in you. But you're thinking 10 people that legit I could hang out with that would enjoy being with me and I would enjoy being with. So that's making friendship. And how does that apply to leadership and communication? Just think through the same rules and they apply in all different areas. Now, take a moment, subscribe, like, share with somebody. This is vital. Let's get the word out on how to make friends. And next week, we'll go into more topics of leadership and communication. Thanks for being a part.
Thanks for listening to Advance with Mike Acker, a podcast designed to provide an edge for leaders through improving practical leadership skills and increasing confidence in speaking. Mike is a best-selling author and business owner who has helped many leaders increase their skills and their confidence, propelling them to new heights in their personal and professional endeavors. Join an incredible group of professionals taking the steps to become better leaders at connect.stepstoadvance.com. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe so you never miss an episode.